right, welcome to the Chit Chat. Today, we're going to be talking about the best gateway games. I'm Adam Roach.
Amanda Roach.
Nathan Perry.
And there are a lot of different lists out there for the games you should be using to get people into the hobby. So if you haven't played many board games or you haven't played board games since you were a kid, these lists are a great resource for you. They're going to help you ease your way into the hobby or find games that are easy to teach other people, your family, or your friends. We're going to be using a pre-existing list today. There are a lot out there, but many of them have aged and in our opinion need to be updated. I'll link to the list we're using in the show notes, but I'm going to go over it really quickly here so that we're all on the same page. Coming in at number 10, we have Takenoko. Number 9, Carcassonne. Number 8, Citadels. Number 7, King of Tokyo. Number 6, Seven Wonders. Number 5, Stone Age. 4, Dominion. 3, Pandemic. 2, Ticket to Ride. And number 1, Catan. So, what games on this list do you both think should be there? What's your favorite game on this list?
The game that I think definitely belongs on that list is Ticket to Ride. That is the epitome of a gateway game. I mean, you can play 2 to 5, good with groups, which is a little hard to do. And it's so easy. You have literally 3 options. You draw a card, claim a route, or get a new destination card. So it's super easy to teach, less than 15 minutes. You can have a group going on this game, and it feels a lot like the games you're familiar with playing. You know, it has that childhood board game feel to it, so it's not too much of a stretch for newer, maybe non-gamers to get into.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely bridges that gap between what you're used to, but it removes that roll and move aspect that everybody, kind of gets tired of. It speeds things along. It doesn't take anywhere near 2 hours.
Plenty of strategy, under an hour, super easy to teach. Great gateway game. I would have it on every gateway game list I'd ever make.
All right. Strong opinion there.
I mean, it's kind of the epitome of there's other games that aren't Monopoly?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, and
it's that game.
It fits that. It might not be the best game ever, but it fits that.
Mm-hmm.
So my keeper is going to be Stone Age.
All right.
For my gateway games, it's something that's going to lead you to the more complicated, get you more into the hobby. And worker placement is just such a facet of the hobby. And Stone Age is just such a great representation of that. Mm-hmm. It's also really easy to teach. There's not hard decisions to make, but there is a mastery you can achieve. Once you get in a few plays, you're definitely going to be scoring a lot higher than you were.
Absolutely.
The board is gorgeous. Like, board games can be beautiful. Look at this. So
there's a lot to it. I like the little the leather cup that comes with it. I mean, that's probably one of my favorite aspects of the game. I don't know why. But yeah, you're right. The dice still adds in that leveling factor of accessibility.
And you get the thrill of rolling dice that you associate with board games.
Yeah.
So if you throw someone straight into a diceless game, maybe
all of a sudden that's stressful or harder to wrap their head around, and I get that.
Yeah, if we are defining a gateway game as an easy to digest version of a mechanism you're going to see over and over and over again in more advanced games, you've got to have worker placement. Mm-hmm. So that's absolutely why I think that belongs on the list. Yeah,
fits a great early worker placement. Mm-hmm. For mine, I went ahead and selected a tile laying game, so I went with Carcassonne. I think that is kind of the quintessential or the classic tile laying game. It's not too difficult. You have stacks of tiles in front of you. You're just selecting one and putting it down, and your only choices are to play on that tile or not to play on that tile. So while there is a lot of strategy to be had in that game, you can get really deep into it. You don't have to start out, and it takes 5-10 minutes to teach to people, even though it takes a long time to master. And if you love it, there's 10 expansions. So you can turn it into all kinds of things.
Carcassonne is for sure, it's withstood the test of time. I mean, it's been around forever. It's a fantastic game. I feel like sometimes when I'm trying to teach new players, there's so many different ways to score, and they can get a little bogged down in that. What should I be doing? There's so many different things, which is why tile laying game, I might prefer Suro, just because teach it in 5, play in 15, plays up to 8. I mean, that's your definition of a gateway. It's really, really accessible. But I love Carcassonne. I will never not own that game. It's so good.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, they do have ranges, I would say. Suro is quite a bit lighter than Carcassonne. You can stay almost on the same level and move up to something like an Isle of Skye. They touch on what they think their next steps would be for almost all of these games. They do stay pretty classic with it. They stay older school. And I think that may be the flaw of Carcassonne. It does not look fun on the table sometimes. I think it looks cool, but to many people it's a little more bland, especially if you're used to even Monopoly with the metal pieces and things of that nature. So.
It's a great introduction to the meeple, for sure.
It is. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what you're going to see in every game from then on, so you might as well have that fun introduction to the meeple and just learn that it's now your friend. We've talked about the games we like on the list. But we said it was aged. So what games would we remove? What are we taking out?
7 Wonders.
Oh, going hardcore for 7 Wonders early. Okay, why?
Yeah.
Why are we taking 7 Wonders off the list?
I mean, I think most people have fallen out of love with it. First of all, and it's just hard to teach. It's full of iconography that you have to explain every single symbol. What does this mean? And you have no idea what you're doing until you've played a full game.
Right.
So, I think that could really turn people away. If they didn't like their first experience, why would they even like the second one?
Right. Why do you repeat an experience that didn't work for you? And if somebody's experienced enough to teach you, they're gonna win.
Right.
I think that's almost a given unless you've just read the rule book and are moving on. And I see it at every board game trade or swap we have. There's 3 or 4 copies of 7 Wonders out there. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean it's a bad game. I think it just means they're better out there.
Yeah. It's one of those that a lot of people played it and loved it and now are moving on to other things. It doesn't have as much staying power, I think, as some of the other ones on the list.
I mean, I personally would probably replace it with something like let's say an Elysium. I mean, the board is it's quite a bit prettier of a game. There's a lot better artwork on the cards. The symbology is relatively easy. It has tap cards in it. It's a heavier game for sure than 7 Wonders, but not by a lot. And if you wanted to stay lighter, you could not 7 Wonders, Splendor maybe. Sushi Go. Sushi Go's probably that's excellent.
Yeah.
Just forget what I said. Go with Sushi Go.
Winner, yes, absolutely.
All right, what are you taking off?
I had a hard time with this one. I keep changing my mind about which one I want to
Want to remove too many things.
I know it's hard. The one I think I'm gonna go with is Citadels.
Okay.
And I know probably you're gonna disagree with me, but that's okay. The reason I chose Citadels is because that's one we used to have a lot. We used to bring it out for gateway games for new players, and we ended up getting rid of it out of our collection. It just got to the point it's harder to teach. You have to explain all the different roles and all the different scoring, and it's fairly long. And I just felt like by the time I was halfway through explaining it, I just saw that glazed over look on people's eyes. And
ouch.
I think that there's just better options for that role selection mechanic. There's better options for the social deduction mechanic. And Citadels, the theme is nothing special. I don't know. I would probably go for more of a San Juan. I think is a more balanced, easier to teach game for role selection.
Okay.
Social deduction, there's a million party games that you can get without it, or you could teach in 5 minutes or less.
Well, So while I might not remove citadels, I will say that it does not scale well, and I think that's where you get your glazed looks. If it goes up to 7 players, but playing with 5, 6, or 7 always makes that game go from 30 to an hour.
We've played a 2-hour game of citadels.
And you don't want that. No. That's not an entry-level game. Also, with cards like the Thief and the Assassin in the earlier games, those can be or can feel really negative as far as a player experience goes. Every time I know you really wanna build twice, well, I'm just gonna take all your money because I know you want to do that.
The take that is very severe. People can feel picked on. I don't think it's a strong gateway game for the mechanics. There's other better options out there.
Rough learning curve.
I do love citadels.
I
love it too.
I know.
She thinks we got rid of it, but it's in the closet.
Well, I probably think that because I haven't played it in so long. For those reasons, yeah.
I would demote it to like a 2nd level gateway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
so don't bring it out with grandma.
Right. No family you want to be nice to.
Once grandma's played everything else, then you can say, okay.
Now let's move to this. Okay. Once they can make fast decisions, I think too, because that role selection can bog down. So yeah, you need people to be able to move along. For me, I'm gonna go straight for the throat on these removing games. I'm gonna pick the unpopular choice. I'm gonna pick Catan. So if you look at all of these lists, Catan is the number 1 choice for an entry-level board game. And I'm going to say that it's done a lot for the hobby. It's probably one of the most popular board games in the world at this point. If someone knows of a hobby game, it's probably Catan. And so, we have a lot to be thankful for that Catan exists. But it creates a lot of those negative experiences as well. We've played a game in where one of the new players, they got themselves blocked in. They couldn't build any more roads. And so while that doesn't end their game, they can still gain points through other ways. It makes it incredibly difficult for them to win, and they immediately check out.
Catan's definitely a game where you can lose from the setup.
You can. You absolutely can. If you make a bad setup, if you don't know what you're doing, and you pick the wrong numbers to set your base up on, you're gonna do poorly. I think the other problem with it is negotiation. So that is so group dependent. You can have somebody that's like, well, I'm gonna keep all my sheep. I don't care if you're offering me 20 wood for it. That's mine. I want to keep them, but you can't use them. I don't care. I want to keep them. So it doesn't, unless you have some free flowing negotiation, some reasonable negotiation, the game breaks. And it just doesn't work.
And on the flip side, you can have people who, give their husband all their cards because they want to, or they keep all the cards from their husband so that they can make them lose. And so you can have a lot of different dynamics, which makes it a less fun game for other new players.
Yeah, we need to play games where you give me all the things so I can win once in a while.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's got the Monopoly syndrome where it's super great to win. It feels awesome. Not fun to lose.
Yeah.
It's just like a slow, march to the end.
When you get blocked in and there's still an hour left of the game, it's easy to check out.
And you can call it early too. I mean, there's definitely a point or a breaking point in the game where you're relatively certain who at least the top 2 contenders are, I would say.
Again, not saying Catan's a bad game.
Sure.
Not my first choice for gateway.
Let's just say what are we replacing it with real quick. Let's move away from why we wouldn't have it there. What would we replace Catan with? Because it is somewhat unique. It has resource management, it has a little bit of area control, and it's got negotiation. And those are 3 things that are hard to find in any other game. Now, individually they're really easy to find, but all together, that's where I would struggle. I would personally replace it with something like Scythe, and I know that is a big game, but it's actually pretty easy to play. It's much harder to get blocked in, and you only have 4 choices per turn.
There's the
Probably
My Little Scythe. Have you seen that?
I have not seen My Little Scythe. I'm interested.
So it's it's a My Little Pony themed scythe.
Oh, I'm not interested anymore.
And it's been
I have seen
they've
that.
actually adjusted the mechanics so kids can learn it. It's pretty close to the same game. It's not an official publication.
Sure.
He made it for his daughter, I believe.
Uh-huh.
But I think they could easily take that, you know,
And make that
take
kind of
out the
thing.
ponies. Let's be realistic. Take out the ponies.
No, I'm
And
with
make
you.
a My First Scythe.
Exactly.
But the reason I say Scythe is because it has that resource management. You're generating resources and area control. But area control is much less warlike in that game and much more, I need points at the end. And so it still stays relatively conflict-free unless you just have an aggressive group. That being said, I understand it's heavy. You both probably knocked me a little bit for that.
I wouldn't choose it as a gateway game, no, but I get what you mean as far as trying to find a game that fits all of those mechanics is hard.
What do you think? And you got any better ideas for us?
In terms of replacing Catan,
Yeah.
not off the top of my head.
All right. Well, I mean,
I do know what I would want to add to the list just personally.
well, we'll get to that. I'm just claiming a win for me and Scythe here early on. So we all would probably create a very different list here. We don't want to touch on every one of the 1 through 10 games. We would all probably create a pretty different list. So let's just talk about games that may have missed the list that we would put on there. Not what it would replace, but just what we would like to see on here and why. What mechanics does it cover? That kind of thing.
You said you had one in mind. What is it?
Yeah.
So
build-up.
Cosmic Encounter is my pick.
Okay.
I mean, to me, board games, what they bring to the table, so to speak, sorry, I apologize, is
Too many puns.
it's the interaction.
Yeah.
It's the face-to-face, and Cosmic Encounter is all about that.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a negotiation game. You can even have a situation where everybody wins, except for one unfortunate person.
Yeah.
But it's fun to lose in that situation. It's a moment. It's a story you can tell.
I've been that guy. It was fun, but it was frustrating. I was mad at the person who betrayed me mostly, to be fair.
It's a real emotion, though.
No, it was a real emotion. I'm completely with you as far as social being the reason we play board games, and that game does it very well. And it is unique. Also, if you don't like the theme, if you don't like aliens, they have a Game of Thrones one out there. They brought in another popular IP. I'm not the biggest fan of reskinning Cosmic, but Game of Thrones is popular, and if it gets more people playing that type game, I think that's great. What are we adding?
I think that what the list is missing is a push your luck mechanic. It's a pretty common theme you see throughout board games. So I would say Ink and Gold. The artwork is just so blah on that game. So for that reason, I would probably choose Celestia as a push your luck to add.
There's a newer version, I think, of
Is there?
Vanguard with better art.
I think they are
And they fixed that problem where the stay and leaf kind of look the same. They definitely fixed that. And
Yeah,
touched
it
up.
needed some new art for
I think
sure.
it's only in Europe right now. I don't know if they've brought it to the States yet.
They'll probably get it here. I mean, usually that kind of thing
Yeah.
catches on quickly, though there's been a lot of reskins
Yeah.
of things like Ink and Gold.
But Celestia, you bring that out of the box and people are excited to play that game. It's gorgeous and it's a very easy to learn push your luck.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what I
got
would
the...
add.
Is
Yeah,
that the
the
boat
little
one?
Yeah,
the
it's the large
airship.
airboat.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't played that one yet.
So
cute.
you haven't played it, okay? But yeah, it has a very cool looking piece to it.
The artwork's incredible, super easy to learn, very accessible, great gateway game.
Yeah, it brings people in for sure. My pick for what I think we would add on here would be some kind of an abstract game. I know theme brings a lot of people in, but sometimes it does the reverse as well. A lot of people say Lords of Waterdeep is a great entry game, but D&D turns some people off.
You don't have to know the theme to play the game.
You don't. But
Yeah.
that's clearly something some people will notice, and it could work for or against that game. So for me, an abstract I think is good. I love the game Samurai. I think it scales really well from 2 to 4 players. You add an additional piece of the board. The new reprint of Samurai has all the nice little miniatures basically for the 3 different areas and territories that you claim. And so I think it's just a really pretty and fairly logical game to get out there on the table. And just it hits what I want out of a 30-minute game.
Can we call that an abstract though?
I don't know. I feel like to a certain extent it is. It's mostly the tile laying for competing score, so you're using the numbers as conflict pressure.
I don't know, that's a whole other discussion probably, but
That's a whole other discussion. We can have an abstract discussion at some point.
because I could get into it.
Oh, wow, we will. That's probably what I would add. We can make a case for other abstracts. Maybe like a New York 1901 would not fit abstract, but would dovetail into a lot of your Ticket to Ride style games. It gives you another quick, easy bridge from classic to modern. Mm-hmm. Great components, and that designer sent me a postcard one time, so I've got to give it a shout out. I feel
Bias.
like small bias. No, he was a small designer, and he really cared about the game, so I thought that was really special, actually. All right, well, I think at this point we're going to go ahead and move to our viewer contest. So I will go ahead and announce that our last winner was Ryan Shard. So it's either Shard or Chard. I very much apologize if I've mispronounced your name, but congratulations. So the board game in the picture was Above and Below. Most of the people who guessed this time did either guess Above and Below or the new game Near or Far. So we had about 100 guesses, and I would say about 70% of them got it right. The rest of them got another game that artist did. So really great showing this time, but it did make it a hard one to win. So congratulations. We will be sending you out a prize, and we'll be contacting you throughout your email. So that'll be time for our new contest. You're going to be seeing a picture coming up on the screen right now. So if you'd like to participate in this contest, email us the name of the board game in the picture at thechitchatcast@gmail.com, and good luck.
Yeah, all the links to the article we talked about are going to be in the comments. Be sure to like and follow our page, and thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, if you'd like to hear different things from us, leave us comments down below, and we will do your topic.